comes the, here comes the.
Man, there's a bunch of Rams highlights.
Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the.
In honor of Reggie Bush won his lawsuit against the Rams.
Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the. Here comes the.
Y'all don't really want it now. 3 and the possible, baby. We damn near on every week. I mean, every day of the week, man. It's
Yeah, it
crazy.
feels like it. It feels like it.
Yeah. But
It's
you know,
fun,
we
though.
talk basketball, we talk NBA, we talk WNBA, but we talk NFL too. And we got some Monday night football reactions that we got to get to. We're gonna recap week 4 as well, and then we're gonna pick our game of the week. We're gonna pick an offensive player, defensive player, and we're gonna end it like we always do with love for violence. But first, let's talk about Boom Fantasy app real quick first before we get
Yes,
into
sir.
our Monday night football reactions.
Yes, sir. Boom Fantasy, you get your first entry up to $100 risk-free, meaning if it misses, you get $100 right back into your account to use on Boom Fantasy. Just use the code possible. A lot of overs and unders. You can stack anywhere from 2 to 5 to 7. You can spin the wheel for random odds and what your 2 picks will get you. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. Use the code possible. Again, up to $100 risk-free. You would then get that credit back only to use on Boom Fantasy. Check them out. It's a good time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And before we start the show, I know you said you had a lot to talk about, so we might as well get to the first Monday night game. The Tennessee Titans beating the Miami Dolphins 31-12. I mean, obviously, Miami Dolphins didn't have a quarterback. Obviously, they're onto their 3rd quarterback, Tyler Huntley. But let's get your reactions. I know you said this. You're gonna wear your heart on your sleeve. I know this is your team, so you're probably gonna overreact a little bit. But life without a quarterback is rough unless you got Mike Tomlin, who always finds a way to win without a quarterback. But go ahead.
Yeah, so okay, here's the thing about the Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins to win that game with the understanding that there is still a Tyreek Hill, still a Devon Achane, still a Jalen Waddle, still a Jalen Wright, Jonnu Smith. All of these weapons, right? Granted, Teron Armstead could not go. He's also in concussion protocol. He was not able to go. I get it. That's one your best offensive lineman. Not trying to dismiss the offensive line and how important that is to a game. With that being said, I have heard ever since McDaniel got there, ever since Tyreek Hill was traded for, that everyone always said anybody could put up the numbers that Tua puts up when you have those weapons, right? That's what I keep hearing. Everyone says it. Oh, anybody could do that. The Dolphins are now 1-6 in games under Mike McDaniel, which means they had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. The one game that they won, they scored 9 points and beat the Jets 9-6. The Zach Wilson-led New York Jets. That's the one win that the Dolphins have gotten without Tua as a starting quarterback with all those weapons. So everyone says Mike McDaniel saved Tua, right? I don't hate the take, but you know what I'm starting to think, Joe? I'm starting to think Tua has made Mike McDaniel. That's what I'm starting to think. Because there's just no again, because I agree, you should be able to have a good offensive output with all of those weapons, right? We've seen Tyler Huntley have success in Baltimore, right? We've seen him have success. Jacoby Brissett, Grant, that was under Flores. He's had success moderately elsewhere. Under McDaniel, Teddy Bridgewater. He's been a solid quarterback in the NFL. Skylar Thompson is young, whatever. That's just another option that has been tried out there. Mike White has done for 400 yards in a game with the goddamn Jets, right?
This man said Mike White, but you're right.
I'm just saying, this is 4 different quarterbacks that have all failed with these weapons under Mike McDaniel. I'm not advocating for Mike McDaniel to go. I am just saying let's start being a little more realistic about what we expect from the Miami Dolphins. It is inexcusable, though, for Mike McDaniel's offense to have 86 yards going into the 4th quarter. That's unacceptable with all those players out there. Unacceptable. And I don't really think it wasn't all on Tyler Huntley. He missed a couple throws to Tyreek.
14 for 21. It's not like he had a bad throwing game. It was a bad, like you said, bad offensive play calling game.
And they really only got going at the very end when they're down 2 scores. And, you could make an argument that Tennessee maybe was playing a little more lax. I could also make an argument you finally started calling some plays over the middle instead of trying to make everything go to the perimeter. Right? At some point, like McDaniel, if you're gonna get this label as this offensive guru, I need you to start guruing. You gotta get some of these games when Tua's out because the schedule's gonna get real tough. It's about to get real tough. These are the easy ones: Tennessee, Patriots, Indianapolis are the next. The next two after. You gotta have. I gotta have two of them. I need two of them. You were supposed to get this one. So that's where I'm at as the Dolphins fandom. I'm not out on McDaniel. My eyebrows raised now, though. It's time to wear my eyebrows raised. The entire team and offense cannot fail because one person's not there. You don't have a system then.
I mean, that's a big one person, but you're right. You got to have first of all, you got to have a backup quarterback option. Always got to be something there.
70 points against the Broncos when the one guy's in there, and then you struggle to get 10 when anyone else is in. The gap has to be closer.
That's the point. Or you're just not a good play caller, and your quarterback's bailing you out a lot, which is why it's a pretty good argument. They suck though. I mean, that's life without a quarterback, in my opinion. It just shows there's so many teams out here who don't have a good backup quarterback, and it's like, what are you doing? Why haven't you spent some money on a backup quarterback? Like Chase Daniel making $10 million a year was important. Oh yeah, especially like Tua. Yeah, come on now. You could have drafted a quarterback late. You could have did a lot of things. Joe Flacco was out there. You could have got Joe Flacco. You see, it worked out for the Colts, which we'll talk about later. So they did look better. Yeah, Joe Flacco would have been a better option. He would know how to get the ball out quick and get to his playmakers to make plays. So, anyway, let's go on to the next game. Let's go to the Lions game against Seattle. They won 42-29. I'm pretty sure you picked this one. I don't think I picked the Lions. I think I picked Seattle. I went with Geno Smith over Jared Goff.
Let's see. I got the. You didn't. You saved yourself at the end. You did pick Detroit.
Okay.
I think I talked you into it. I'm gonna say I talked you into it because you did win last week's picks. You won by 2. So that puts us at the total for the season.
What I do. That's what I do.
You've got 18 correct. I've got 16 correct. So whatever.
Hey, it's a lead. You gotta start somewhere to get that lead.
Yeah, it won't last long. But what I will say about that game was Jared Goff got right back in his bag. They took their medicine from that kind of below average showing that they had against Tampa Bay, and they did something with their week, and they put together a masterclass out there. 18 of 18, didn't miss a pass, caught a touchdown for Jared Goff. I mean, they were really, really in their bag, and they had been actually struggling so far this season, albeit only 3 weeks, but they've been struggling in the red zone. They eliminated all that shit last night. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 touchdowns. Between the two of them, Amon-Ra got himself a nice little touchdown, one of the best catches of the weekend. That toe tap for that last touchdown. The Seahawks. This is kind of what I expected, though. I hadn't really bought into the Seahawks. They were able to kind of make it a game for a little bit because Kenneth Walker went crazy, but they're just not quite on. They're not in that tier of team. They just. To me, even though that game might have said 13 points and it was kind of close, to me, the Lions were fairly clearly the better team, and that's coming from someone that did not get to see a ton of it. So take that with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Man, the Lions have so many offensive weapons, and if Jared Goff can stick to distributing the ball and not focusing on one option, I think they're going to be dangerous too. And man, I always want to shit on Dan Campbell, but he's making me look bad. So I'm gonna give him his respect off of the bye week. They did come in looking really good, and that offense looked dynamic. And that's the offense I bet Pat Mahomes wish he had right now with all those weapons and different people he can give the ball to. Just dink and dunk and let them make plays for him. It's the best thing for Jared Goff. You don't put Jared Goff in situations where he's not pressed and he can make the easy plays, and that's going to make you successful. And like you said, Jared Goff is in his bag when he can do that. When he's comfortable and he can just do what he needs to do, he is a good quarterback. Can't act like he's not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. So
you can win with him. Everyone gets so caught up in trying to find like a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or a Lamar. You can win plenty of games. You can win a Super Bowl with a guy like Jared Goff. You can.
I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen the Super Bowl yet. We've seen him get there.
You've seen worse quarterbacks win a Super Bowl than Jared Goff.
Yeah, that's true. Eli Manning.
Dilfer.
I forget Dilfer won one. That don't count. I don't really count. So before we actually go through and react to the rest of the games, I wanted to talk about this real quick. So after 4 weeks, Here's the AFC. The AFC East leader is the Bills with 3-1. The AFC North leader is the Steelers 3-1. The AFC South leader is the Texans 3-1, and the AFC West leader Chiefs 4-0. Any surprises with any of those in the AFC so far through 4 weeks?
I would say, like, off the caliber of the team, Pittsburgh being 3-1 is.
They should be 4-0.
I feel like it's misleading the other way. Like, I don't
I
think
know,
they're
but I'm just
quite
saying
in
they
the
should be
same
4-0.
caliber.
They shouldn't have lost to the Raiders.
Correct, but like, when you look at the teams that they played, yeah, I mean, they should be 3-1's probably about right. You know, they probably should have beat 3 out of those 4 teams. They're not good enough to where you can just pencil in a win every single week for them when they play these kind of lesser teams. I think they would be 4-0 if Anthony Richardson did not get hurt. I'll just put it like that. I don't think the Colts were going to win that game.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Joe Flacco came in and he was comfortable. He knew exactly what he was going against. He knew who
he converted like 7 straight.
It's ridiculous.
Third and like 7+ to just keep getting them points and down the field. But no, I wouldn't say I'm not terribly surprised by any of those. Not terribly surprised.
You know what? Me either. Really, maybe the Ravens being 2-2 is probably the biggest surprise still. Even though they've looked good, but they didn't look good early on, so that's probably the biggest surprise. Them not leading, because they shouldn't have lost to they shouldn't have lost to the Raiders. Is what I was talking about, not the Colts with the Steelers. I meant the Raiders with them. And then in the NFC East leader, the Commanders at 3-1. The NFC North, the Vikings 4-0. The NFC South with the Buccaneers 3-1, and the NFC West with the Seahawks 3-1.
Yeah, Seahawks is surprising to me, but again, if you look at the schedule and who they played, you know, before the season, we would not have expected that they were going to play Skylar Thompson, right, at quarterback for the Dolphins. If Tua plays that game, they're 2-2. I'm fairly confident. The Bucs is who I picked to win the NFC South, so I'm not surprised with that one. The Commanders surprises me, pleasantly surprised. I've really enjoyed their story and watching them. The Eagles looking as bad as the Eagles have looked, albeit A.J. Brown's only played 1 game. Devontae Smith missed last game. So, like, when you look at the full context, it's not that surprising, especially with how they finished last year. But I would say those are the only ones that really surprised me.
You're not going to say the Vikings didn't surprise you? Really?
I didn't expect them.
They didn't surprise me. They didn't surprise me.
I didn't expect them. Well, first of all, Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. Yes, they did.
No, they definitely did surprise me. I was bullshitting. That's what was my point.
Yeah, I mean, they're a surprising 4-0. I'm still like not sure I completely buy it, but
it's a good start.
If the Lions like weren't 3-1, like I would probably feel differently. But I guess what I'm saying is the Lions are kind of where I expect the Lions to be and look like one of the best teams. But yeah, you're right. I am surprised that they are leading the division.
I still have faith in the Packers. I mean, when they get healthy. When they get healthy, man.
2-2. They're 2-0 when they had their backup in. Just saying.
Damn, that is a great point. Still, the Vikings probably the biggest shock. I'm just going with the Vikings as the biggest shot. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, they are. You're right.
Everybody gave up on him, but then you also, I mean, Commanders is pretty surprising too with the rookie quarterback doing.
You just don't expect a rookie to be that good that fast.
But it also is like the NFC East. Like, when was the last time there was a back-to-back champion in the NFC East?
Yeah, but I mean that would open the door just for the Eagles, then, right? Like the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and all those guys. True. Like, I mean,
but they look trash right now too.
Yeah, I mean the Commanders, they probably have one of the more surprising wins of the year too. I don't think many people had them beating the Bengals like they did on Monday Night Football last week, or 2 weeks ago now. So, yeah, them and the Vikings, fun stories, I think.
All right, let's go through a couple of these games. I know a lot of these games actually this week I felt like were blowouts early on, but then they kind of caught up to these teams. Let's go through this was an interesting game in my opinion. The Saints versus the Falcons. I don't know if you saw any of that game.
I watched damn near that whole thing.
Koo was super clutch. Good for me in fantasy too. Helped me get some points. I needed that. What did you thought about the Dirty Birds and the Saints? You know, NFC South's always going to be a close game.
Yeah, I mean, that game to me, the Saints are very clearly better than them. The Saints are very, very, very clearly better. If they just didn't implode.
That's the sad part. That's the sad part.
Like that's probably a double-digit win for the Saints. Shaheed drops the punt for a touchdown for the Falcons. Strip sack of Carr. I'm sorry, not a strip sack, but they tried to throw a screen and it hits off a defensive lineman's arm, pops straight up in the air for a pick six. Like that's how they got 14 of their points. Their offense couldn't really do anything against New Orleans. I think they scored like 3 points organically, maybe 6 points organically. So great for the Falcons to find a way to get that win. I feel pretty comfortable with them being the third best team in that division.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say I agree with that actually. And I'm worried about Kirk Cousins. I never was a Kirk Cousins fan. I don't know why I kind of bought into the hype a little bit with him going to Atlanta because they have so many weapons offensively. It makes no sense for them not be good. They got a decent defense. That defense is what's going to keep them in a lot of games because that offense is terrible. Kirk Cousins does not look right yet. Him and Aaron Rodgers both don't look right yet. I mean, at least Aaron Rodgers has shown flashes in some games, but Kirk Cousins has looked terrible. Besides what a 2.5 minute span in a fourth quarter drive when he looked the most comfortable. Besides that, that offense has looked awful. So
Kyle
right
Pitts
about the Falcons, Kyle
just
Pitts
ran a lot of
bust,
routes. 0 catches, 0 yards yesterday or
bust.
2 days ago on Sunday.
That's a regular
Starting
thing.
to look like that.
I don't understand it though. Is he not getting open? They're not throwing the ball. You can't block, so I know that much.
I think what's happening as NFL defenses have gotten more Florida, so choke artist. I think as defenses have gotten more athletic and also been more comfortable playing with smaller, non-base defenses, they're just getting comfortable putting like legitimate defensive backs on some of these tight ends that they know we're not going to block.
Right.
Like the Kyle Pitts, the Evan Ingrams. Evan Ingram started to have a little bit of a resurgence with Jacksonville the last couple of years, but OJ Howard, those types of guys are like, okay, well, I know you're not about to block shit, so I'm just gonna go put a real DB on you. You're not as athletic as an actual receiver. Like you're supposed to be this mismatch, but you're only really a mismatch if you get a linebacker on you. But if we just don't put a linebacker on you, we put like a safety on you that's got some coverage skills, like the Kyle Hamilton mold, then there's really not much for them to do.
Yeah.
And especially when they're not great at using their size to be contested catch players. And then it's like, well, what do you really offer then? Not a whole lot when you're Kyle Pitts, apparently.
It's a lot of those now, though, too. I think they're slowly going back to the bigger tight end because there's not a lot of big plays anymore. It's hard to find a big 20, 25-yard play.
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at the young tight ends that are being successful. TJ Hawkinson, big, willing to block, right? Laporta, big, willing to block. Bowers has had moderate success. I think about as much success as you can expect within that Raiders offense. Big, willing to block, right? Like it's a chess piece that you don't necessarily know what the offense is trying to do when they're out there. With Kyle Pitts, you know what he's out there to do.
One thing, run routes. All right, let's talk about the Bengals and the Panthers. It's not really much to talk about, but I wanted to know: are you buying the hype of Joe Burrow and the Bengals being back? Because I thought they struggled a lot in this game. They came through in the fourth quarter, but that was an ugly game. That the Panthers were right in it with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton didn't look bad at all. It was just
they are
at the end of the game.
I'm not sold at all on the Bengals.
They don't look good.
Burrow
don't look good.
Close to being fully out on the Bengals. They got all their people.
They're out in the AFC North. Yeah, they're not gonna be able to compete.
Like Joe Burrow is fine. Like he's not a bad quarterback, but he's not this transcendent. He's not in that category to me. He's just not. Now, can he have a clutch drive in the fourth quarter to lead a game-winning drive? Sure.
He was the last one to beat Mahomes in the playoffs, though, man. That means something.
Did Joe Burrow beat him, or did the Bengals defense beat him?
The Bengals defense, for sure.
Like we haven't. It's not like we saw like what happened when Mahomes and Josh Allen went against each other, and it was like 30-something to 30-something.
That's fair.
Like Joe Burrow put up like 21 points. Like it wasn't like he had this huge offensive output. And even you look at this game against the Panthers, right? Like it takes a just incredible play by Jamar Chase, who breaks like 4 tackles and then runs up the sideline for a long touchdown to kind of get their offense going. And again, I'm not saying it's all on Joe Burrow. I'm just saying the offense is the offense, and there's not much I trust about it.
What happened to T. Higgins? Yeah, man. They supposed to have a lot of weapons, but it doesn't seem like they do. They don't get open a lot.
Now, I will say this: I have never been a big Zach Taylor fan. He was on the Dolphin staff.
I agree with
before he
that.
went to
I think
Bengals.
they throw
I'm
the
not a
ball
big
too
fan of
much.
his. I think
Shotgun too
if
much
they
too.
maybe if they reinvented how their offense is with a different coach, I think they could be back with these pieces. But I mean, this is probably their last run with this group
Yeah.
of players.
They're
Mickey's
running the
already
2000.
gone.
Yeah, they're running a
T
4-year-old
Higgins,
off.
T Higgins is probably not back next year.
No, he's not. He
Boyd's
doesn't
already
want to be
gone
there
to
right now.
Tennessee. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade one of them if they don't pick it up real
That's
soon.
true. That's true. Rams, Bears. Now, I watched this whole game, and I know the Rams are injured a lot, and the Bears aren't very good. This was an ugly ass game, but
I ain't
Matthew
hearing that.
Stafford looked worse than Caleb Williams did in this game, in my opinion. The Rams did not look very good. I know, yes, they're super injured, but I may have to be done with the Rams this year because they do not look good at all, and I don't trust the Bears at all. Still, they do not look good. They don't know how to use their offense at all. I feel like they're just out there and leaving Caleb Williams on the island. They got to make things easier and simple and look at what Jalen Daniels is doing and compare that. You got comparable weapons on the offensive side of the ball that Jalen Daniels has over there in Wisconsin. I mean, over there in Washington. I mean, Washington's running the ball way better, but the Bears ran the ball a lot very well the last 2 years. Get back to running the ball, get things simple, and make Caleb Williams look a little bit better. They're putting him in a terrible position, and the Rams
I,
just look so bad that
I
they
will
lost
say
this game
this
ridiculous.
about if I was a Bears fan, I would feel um, fairly encouraged just from the sense that I thought this was the first game where Caleb Williams looked like he was actually taking what was being given to him. I didn't
I
see. I
agree with
watched a
that
lot of this
part.
game as well because they were part of a parlay for me,
That's why it
and
was ugly though. Duncan.
right, but I mean that's okay, and
It's good
that's
for
why they
him.
won though. That's why they won is because he didn't make the mistake that he had been making, whether that's a turnover
Holding
or
on
just
too
putting
long.
the offense in 3rd and 20s, 3rd and 18s. He didn't do that. He was just taking the checkdowns, and then in some way or
Facts.
another, they got DeAndre Swift. I don't know, it was just 12 touches, but he made one of those things count, like DeAndre Swift can do on any play. I'm not a huge Swift person, definitely not a Swiftie, but he yeah, I knew you'd like that. He did it against the Rams, right? He had one of those splash plays against the Rams. Now he's gonna have. He probably had 3 or
Bad game.
4 of those touches that went for negative yards, and you're probably like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But yeah, it was the thing I'd be encouraged by if I was a Bears fan was Caleb Williams starting to not always look for the home run.
Yeah. Their games are always so ugly though. They went ugly.
Mm-hmm.
They went so ugly. This was a really good game. This might be my game of the week, to be honest. And I stopped watching it and then had to turn it back on. The way the Vikings looked in that first half against the Packers, they put it on them. Made it was 28-0. Made it look too easy. And I guess that's what happens though. Is human nature. You lax up, and the Packers came back, made it an interesting game. But at the end of the day, that Vikings defense was legit. It was crazy. Too good. They came out and hit the Packers in the mouth.
Yep, I think with that game, the thing about a Flores defense is he loves to be aggressive. You're naturally going to take away that aggression when you're up 28-0.
Right.
Like there's really no point to like putting a bunch of zero blitzes in and risking the home run play so they can score quickly. So you get a little lax. I don't think their secondary is really at a point yet where they can just rush for and rely on their coverage.
No, he needs
There's not going to be a lot of coverage sacks for the Vikings. Like they get their sacks and their pressures from blitzes, simulated blitzes, all those types of things. And I think once the score got so big, they kind of let up a little bit.
Facts.
Didn't do all that, and then the offense kind of stopped scoring. It was like, oh shit, we gotta kind of put this back into gear. And luckily for them, they were able to.
Another ugly game. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. I mean,
oh my
the
god,
Jaguars,
Joe,
get rid of everybody,
hold
bro.
on. Before we talk about this game, how have we not talked about the big news of the day? Devontae Adams.
Oh shit! I mean,
requesting a trade.
we knew that was coming. Great point. I don't know how I don't have that on the list. Yeah, Devontae Adams requesting a trade is crazy, but we all know that's coming. We all knew he was gonna sit out until he went to New York. He's out of there. He ain't hurt. He wasn't hurt last week.
I just
So-
think it's the only thing. My only comment on this, Joe, is that I just find it hilarious that he kept trying to tell everybody that he was happy there. Who are you lying to?
You knew he wasn't happy there.
You went
I don't
there to
think
go
he
play
wanted-
with Derek Carr.
And then
And
Derek
then they
Carr's
got
gone.
Derek Carr up out of there, and now you're left with Gardner Minshew, and your team sucks. Of
What can
course,
you
you're
get
not
from
happy
him,
being
though?
there. There's no one would be like, no one would judge him for being
Nope.
upset about that situation. Just real
So
quick,
if he-
what I just want to know from you, Joe,
Third
where do
round
you
pick.
where do you want him to go? Where do you want him to go?
That man going to the
I think there's
Chiefs,
two
bro.
teams that are really interesting.
They not gonna send him to the Chiefs because that's in division. But they need a receiver. They hurting right now. Where would he go? That's tough. Let me see. I'm trying to look at these teams, see a good spot for him.
I'll
Buffalo.
give you mine that I like. I'll give you no. I
He's
said
not gonna go to
Buff-
Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not, but yeah, that means
He's not
that
gonna go to Buffalo because they just got rid of
objectively that would be
Stephon
good.
Diggs. They just got rid of Stephon Diggs. They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about that game yet, but they might be rethinking that right about now.
Yeah.
But the one that I think is interesting, just because of the reason why he went to Vegas, what if and it would get him out of the conference? What about New Orleans? Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara. That's a pretty damn good three-head monster with Derek Carr playing quarterback.
That is scary.
That's
But-
interesting to me. Shout out to BJ. He put that one in my head.
I just don't trust. You think he likes Derek Carr that much, huh?
I mean, that's why he went to the Raiders.
I think he went there because Aaron Rodgers was so wish-washy that he was like, "I'm finna go."
I
get
think that's
this
definitely
money
part
and
of
go
it.
to-
I think that's
Yeah.
definitely part of it. He was being wish-washy. He's
That's
like, all right,
tough.
well, if I'm going to go to another team.
What
But
do you
another
ask?
one, your Steelers. I wouldn't. I that would be interesting to me. I don't know that. I don't know that he would love playing in that offense.
They barely know how to give Pickens the ball, bro. But when he gets the ball, he make plays. Oh, sorry, George Pickens. They barely get George Pickens the ball, but when he gets the ball, he knows how to make plays. I just don't know if he would want to go there because they barely get George Pickens the ball. Then Justin Fields, quarterback situation. I'd
Yeah.
take it though, but it just doesn't seem likely.
I don't know that he would love it. I'm just saying in terms of like a team that could probably use
All
one
right.
more pass catcher. That would be an interesting one if they're trying to.
And I'm
compete
getting,
with-
I want a third round pick. If I'm the Raiders,
asking price is a second round pick right now. From everything that I've seen.
yeah, I just think see that's not realistic.
I feel like it is.
How's Devontae Adams? 33?
Yeah, but any of these teams that want to win right now,
Not realistic.
mid-season,
You're
that'll
not
drive that
getting-
price up.
You're not getting a second round pick, third round pick. He's not getting. No way. I wouldn't do it unless I was like, okay, this is gonna get us over the hump to get us a championship.
If I'm
Like the Ravens?
Saints, if I'm one of those teams, I'd give up a second round pick like that.
Shit, I'm glad you ain't a GM. Shit, if he was a GM, you probably cut Trevor Lawrence. After that,
I would have
Houston
never
Rockets-
gave Trevor
Houston-
Lawrence $55 million. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that was a bad move. Since we just kind of talked about some of these teams, let's skip through. You want to talk about the Broncos and the Jets? That horrible 10-9
I would
game.
love to.
Aaron
I would
Rodgers
love to
will
talk
go.
about that game. I would love to talk about that
'Cause,
game.
Everyone's going in talking about Robert Saleh, but that defense and that defensive-minded head coach only allowed 10 points. Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett, what happened to that combination, that awesome guru-ness that was going to put up offense a lot of points? 9 points ain't getting it done.
You know what I just find hilarious, Joe? Because I feel like we were like the only. I felt like I was going crazy. Then we had our show on Friday. We reacted to the Thursday night game, and I felt a little more sane that I was not the only person that was like. I mean, it was just 24 points. Like,
Mhm,
The
right,
way
yeah.
people were talking about the Jets is like they just dropped 50 on like the vintage Belichick Patriots.
Mhm.
Like you scored
Did I pick the
24 points.
Broncos?
Let me remind myself.
I feel like I don't think I did Bo Nix. Ain't no way.
No, we both picked the Jets.
Yeah. That's what we
But
fucking get.
I just felt like I was going crazy. I was like, I really didn't think that offense looked that fantastic. Like,
It
I didn't think
didn't.
it was that special. They scored 4 times. Like, you would have thought that they dropped 50, and I'm just like, I mean, all right, like hype train of New York, I guess, but it's like they looked bad against Tennessee the week before. We saw what happened week 1. They weren't all that week 1, and it's like now, okay, now they lose. I mean, this is just a classic Jets game right here. So somehow lose to a team who's starting quarter. I wish Dolphins would have played the Jets this week. You're telling me that you can beat the Jets with 60 yards passing? We could have done that. We could have done that.
Bro, Sean Payton, man, like I know what you did in the first half of your career and longevity stuff matters, but recency bias matters too. And people gonna remember how you look now than they did what you looked with Drew Brees. It's gonna slowly turn into, oh, you were only good because you had Drew Brees, because you sit here and said you handpicked this guy, say he was gonna be the guy. You got everything you wanted. You got the contract you wanted, the comfortability you wanted. And this what it's looking like? It's looking like Tim Tebow era fucking Broncos. What is going on?
Bro.
Like literally, you said this was the guy, and
Tim
you had
Tebow
the
Tim
opportunity.
Tebow put up more passing yards than what Bo Nick's been putting up.
It's crazy. They had the opportunity. They could have traded up. They could have did things. They could have made moves, but nope. That's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all
The
wanted.
thing that I just find not that I love him as a quarterback by any means. I do think he is corny and all that is valid. But everyone tried to scapegoat Russ this entire time that Russ was in Denver. And I just remember watching last year. Not that because
Russ wasn't bad last year. 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions is not bad.
Whenever their offense was in 2-minute drill and Russ just got to kind of go, they were fine. Like, was he great? No. Do I want Russ on the Dolphins? No. I'm not saying any of that.
The offensive line was.
But everyone tried to make it out to be like Russ was just so washed, and that Sean Payton, it was impossible for Sean Payton to do anything with it. And it's just like, no. Like, Sean Payton deserves some blame here. At the end of the day, you know what Russ is, right? He is not this timing. He's going to hit his back foot and the ball's going to come out. That's never been Russ, right? And you're trying to make him do that in year 11. It was never going to happen. And so I just find it hilarious. Now that like you said, this is his guy. They were keying because they were so smart to just sit at 12 and let Bo Nix fall to them, and they were just the geniuses of the draft. Sean Payton laughing, he got his guy, blah 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 blah. All right, same energy. That's your guy. That's your guy. If it doesn't work out, now if it does work out, I'll give you credit for it. I'll come back to this and say, you know what? It took a little time to develop, but you got it right.
I hope his ass get fired.
I'm gonna keep that same energy. If it does not pan out, that was Sean Payton's guy.
That's great. I love it. Let's talk about the Commanders. We don't really have to talk about the Cardinals. Kyle Murray was very good.
I can't believe I picked the Cardinals. What was I thinking?
You just didn't believe the rookie quarterback could keep doing it. But the way the Commanders are running the ball,
I thought Arizona
it's gonna make it easy.
I thought Arizona was going to score more. I thought their offense was legit because they put up like 30 on the Bills, and I was thinking they were just going to win a shootout. But no.
Call of Duty come out soon, man.
And there we go, Las Vegas.
Call of Duty come out soon. That's the problem.
A minute and a half left. Go ahead.
Kyler Murray's already on there. They need that dub because they struggle. They better get it together. But we're good. We can go to the next game. We can go to let's talk about the Chiefs game. We got to talk about the Chiefs Chargers game. Chargers aren't very good. Jim Harbaugh's offense. I don't why he bring the Michigan offense to the NFL. I don't understand what they're doing here. It's not working. It's not looking good. The Chiefs don't look good either. Travis Kelce doesn't look great. They done turned him into just a full-on blocking defensive tackle. Offensive lineman.
I mean, Kelce kind of came alive in that game. 7 catches, 89 yards.
Because he was the only target. Yeah. He's the only target.
That tells me that he can still do it when they need him to. But they just haven't needed him to.
Maybe. Now they're
pieces.
Now they need him to. They got to do something.
Mahomes out here throwing picks and then injuring his best receiver.
Yeah, crazy.
So
I don't know what's going on. Chiefs don't look good either. Chiefs definitely not going to the Super Bowl
here's
unless
what I'll
they
say about
light it up.
the
We said the
Chargers.
same thing last year though too. Early on they
Yeah,
struggled,
I'm
but
not.
they
I'm
still
not
found a
falling
way
into
to
that
win.
trap. I'm not
Yeah,
falling
don't
into
do
that
that.
trap.
Don't do
this
that.
year.
Yeah,
Nope. They're the new Patriots. They're always going to be fine.
right. Facts, that
The
part.
Chargers, though, I just want to get this out there. This one also is a little personal to my fandom because I heard for years, specifically the first 2 years of Justin Herbert and Tua's career, all these Chargers fans mocking the Dolphins because they got it wrong. They should have picked Herbert. Ha, we got Herbert. You picked Tua. It all sucks. And a lot of us Dolphins fans were pointing, offensive line sucks. He doesn't really have any weapons. I don't really know what you're expecting him to do. And now when I get on Twitter when the Chargers are playing, well, he doesn't have Keenan Allen. He doesn't have Mike Williams. The offensive line, the tackles are hurt. Blah, blah. I'm like, oh.
What did he do when
This
he
all
did have
matters.
them?
I said,
Zero
all this
playoff
matters
wins.
now. I would say, oh, this matters now. Interesting. Now, I'm not going to be petty and say, no. You're not allowed to. No. It's correct. Justin Herbert was pressured on over half of his dropbacks last week. You're not gonna have a good offense no matter what. Joe Alt
But
being
he
out
was on
there,
the ball
they're
too long
stellar.
too.
He does. He doesn't throw with anticipation, which has always been my thing against Justin Herbert. But like you said, the offense is not impressive. They got rid of all those weapons. Now Ladd McConkey looks pretty good. I think that was a good draft pick. He's a solid kind of slot guy. Probably would be nice to still have Keenan or Mike, but whatever. I'm still in my wait and see, I guess is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to kill him for that game because Chris Jones will wreck a game with your fully healthy offensive line. When you're depleted, he's really going to wreck it. So I'm not going to.
A wrap.
Yeah, I'm not going to kill him for it, but still not sold yet.
No, it's ugly.
The Harbaugh Chargers.
All right, let's go one more. This is probably the game of the week too. Actually, I don't know why I picked the Vikings and Packers. Bills, Ravens. Ravens showed out on this one. This was a shocker to me. I thought this was gonna be a high scoring, close game, and I talked all that shit about Derrick Henry last week and talked all that shit talking about he had a good game, but he still looked old. He wasn't running that fast. He looked a little out of shape and not great. Looked like an older running back. Then he came through and said, "I got something for you." But they changed the offense up too. They actually handed him the ball off. They didn't have him in shotgun doing that read option bull crap. They just gave him the ball and let him put his foot in the ground. And he showed he still got it. Like, respect it, bro.
What did I say on Friday, Joe? What did I say? I said the Bills needed.
You did.
And we're about to get served some humble pie.
You did.
Who better than Lamar and the Ravens?
Did. You made it a black and white thing.
And you went with the white man. Ain't that crazy?
Shouldn't. Hey, bro. Man. They've been tricking us for 400 years. I should have learned, bro. I should have learned. My fault. Because
that game, I had a lot of fun watching that game. I was trying out a new sports bar that I hadn't been to yet. I was enjoying it, and this poor bartender, she was wearing this Josh Allen jersey, and I just kind of said, "Okay."
Oh, you had to be talking shit. You had a flirt.
I didn't want my food to spit in, but
yeah. You got a flirt talk shit.
Some fantastic buffalo lemon pepper wings, by the way. Groove Bar in Louisville, if you're ever in town. But
this man been on black people too much. He ordering lemon pepper wings. Oh my god, lemon pepper is fire. It's the go-to flavor, bro. It's the go-to flavor.
That was so fire. But oh man, I was enjoying the hell out that game when Derrick Henry right off their first carry. I was like,
first carry. I was like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. That's great. That was a great game.
That Ravens team, that they finally look like they gelled, and we'd kind of been begging for it. Get more under center, more traditional handoffs to Derrick Henry, please. Stop giving him shotgun handoffs. That's not what he's built for. And yeah, the Bills ain't have nothing for it. The Bills had nothing for it. No. I think the Ravens were really the first team that could exploit their linebackers being hurt. The Dolphins couldn't really do it because the Dolphins had no offensive line. They couldn't do anything. Cardinals, they're not built like that either. But they even were able to put up some points on them.
Okay.
And then Jacksonville. I'm not talking about them.
I'm assuming that Derrick Henry is your offensive player of the week.
Oh yeah.
He's mine too. That's why I was like, we might as well just transition into Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
199, 29 carries. They should have
200 yards
gave him that
total.
200 though, bro. You gotta find a way to give him one more yard.
Yeah, he got
29.
200 total yards.
It was 199.
I know,
199.
he had a catch too. He had a catch too.
Oh, you saying 200
Even
total? I
better.
see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Does that work
Yeah,
with the?
He was a
I
monster.
don't think that worked.
He was a
I
monster.
don't know if we got any bonuses in his contract or not, but that should work. All right, since we both picked Derrick Henry Offensive Player of the Week, that was pretty easy. That was a pretty obvious one too this
So
week.
also, just another fun fact: that was his first receiving touchdown since 2019. Just a fun fact for you.
Who the hell was his quarterback in 2009? Tannehill.
Or maybe it was 2021. I don't know. It was a while ago.
Tannehill.
Multiple years. It
Damn.
was either Tannehill or Mariota.
Probably both. All right, let's do Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah,
We
this
got-
dude's just a monster. Fred Warner. This dude
Warner.
is just such a Fred Warner is just such a monster. Athletic as
ridiculous.
hell, all over the field. Running. I know he's just playing the Patriots, but then like makes an athletic ass interception, falls to the ground, gets back up, cribs it. Then the rest of the game, he's just flying all over the place, making tackles for losses, stuffing people at the line of scrimmage. Dude was just a menace out there. Patriots had no prayer in that game. And I told you my lock for bet of the
fair.
week last week was Brandon Ayuk under on his points.
You did do that.
Parlay, made $200 off that entire parlay. Just saying.
Damn, there you go. I like how we both picked linebackers for Defensive Player of the Week, though. Because I went with Levante David from the Buccaneers. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. He was just a menace out there and made it hard for them from the jump and made that. Eagles offense was just not very good, but Buccaneers defense were able to put a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts. Made it hard for him to do pretty much anything. And
Jalen Hurts put a lot of pressure on himself too.
He definitely did do that.
For no fucking reason.
Yep, that too. But I mean, they was in his head early, so he was feeling that pressure. He was seeing ghosts. So I'm gonna get that. The Buccaneers defense needed that too because they did not look good the week before that.
Levante David does not age.
No,
I'm
man,
convinced he does
seriously.
not age.
He's been what? How long has he been in the league? 13?
He's on
No,
like
not
year,
that.
He's on year
year
12 or 13. I'm pretty
12.
sure.
Yeah, insane. And he's still like their leading tackler every year.
Never gets hurt. It feels
Perennial
like,
Pro Bowl. Yeah, never gets hurt. You're right. You ain't lying. I think he had 1 year where he was out for a season, wasn't he? It may have been 1 year. He was out a lot. That 1 year with Tom Brady when they won the Super Bowl, he was out, but then he played in the Super Bowl, I think. But he missed a lot of that season. Remember? Because they were struggling the first 7 weeks, and then they got healthy. That's what happened. So I agree with you on that. Cool. All right, so let's wrap it up. We'll be back on this week to do our picks as well. But before we wrap the show up, we're going to do love or violence like we always do here at 3 and Impossible to wrap the shows up. You got any love or violence today? I mean, it's been on a streak of love, so might need to throw an axe or two.
I thought I chose violence last time. I did choose violence last time. I chose violence on the White Sox for being god awful. I'm gonna just show love. I'm gonna go throw it to the basketball world. Just show love to Dikembe Mutombo. Passed away from brain cancer at the age, I believe, is 58. That was yesterday. Was obviously an amazing basketball player, but for what everyone says, was even a more incredible human being. Was
what he did in the Congo.
Instrumental in NBA in Africa. What he's done for Democratic Congo, he's just a world-class human being. Every single story that ever comes out from people that have met him in person is facts. They can never say enough good things about him. So just gonna show love to Dikembe. Rest in peace. But yeah, gotta show love to him. Fantastic player and human being.
I'm gonna show love too. Shout out Pete Rose. They did you dirty, man. I know ain't nobody leave this world perfect, bro. Everybody got a little dirt on them. All right. Bill Cosby was raping bitches, but Cliff Huxtable is still a great show. R. Kelly is terrible.
There was no reason.
But I believe I can fly. I'm just saying. Michael Jackson, even though he was acquitted, still made Man in the Mirror. I'm just saying, no one leaves this world perfect. But what he did playing baseball, I thought this was a great comparison. I heard someone on NBA radio say today, the best way you can compare him is like Russell Westbrook. You know he's going to give 110% every single night. And I thought you gotta respect the man for doing that. And if you take away the gambling, you can't deny that he was a great baseball player.
Yeah,
Shitty human
4,200
being, but a
hits.
great baseball player.
I don't even really think he was. I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know much about him as a person, like what he was.
Exactly.
I have
I
no
understand
idea.
what people say.
I don't think the gambling makes him a bad person.
They refusing to acknowledge it and doing autograph shows on Hall of Fame night and for Major League Baseball, still fans is kind of the petty. But they should just like moved it. They should have put him in. But now they're gonna they probably put him in after he died.
Yeah, I saw a very grim joke that said, "Yeah, lifetime ban is over now."
That's pretty good. They should put him in.
I think they should put him in. I think they should have put him in while he was living in, so we could have appreciated it. Again, if you want to distinguish, we're only putting Pete Rose, the player, in, and not the coach who was gambling. Whatever. It's like I'm just like not going to get that hung up on. If we know that he was gambling on his team to win or gambling on other teams, I don't really have much of a problem with it. Like it just doesn't bother me. Sorry,
especially nowadays. It's like Reggie Bush not having his Heisman, and they gave it back.
Yeah,
and he's still suing. Shout out Reggie Bush.
Shout out.
I was gonna choose violence, but you choose Dikembe Mutombo, so I had to shout out love for Pete Rose. You know, they going threes. I don't know who's next. But they going threes. I was gonna shout out love to LeBron and Bronny. That's what I was gonna shout out to. And the media giving the Lakers all the love in the world. It was media day, and all I saw was Laker talk. It was great. I didn't see nobody else. I don't know.
So
they didn't say shit about Jimmy Butler hair. All they did was talk about
Jimmy
LeBron.
showed up normal this year.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They didn't do shit but talk about LeBron and Bronny's practice play.
Man,
like, who
that
cares?
stuff was so corny. Oh, and shout out Von Milligan, suspended 4 games for hitting his pregnant girlfriend last year. Good job, NFL. It only took you a year.
Another example of a great athlete, but terrible human being. Yeah, it only took him a year, which I don't understand. They was like, oh, there's evidence of you doing that, but you know what? We'll let the law take its process. And then if nothing happened, and then they was like, you know what? We still should do something. So why don't you just do something right away?
The NFL,
because the court still didn't punish him, and then you were like, you know what? We should do something.
I mean, it's the whole fact that like Rashee Rice is playing this year. Like the way that they pick and choose when they're going to expedite some of these things and not expedite.
They might as well suspend him now since he's hurt.
No, that's what some people are saying. The Chiefs might not get him back till 2026.
Yeah, because he's gonna be out for a year, and then they're gonna suspend him. He's gonna be out for the rest of this year. They're gonna be suspended for like he ain't gonna get suspended the whole season.
Who knows?
They don't need him. They got rid of Tyreek. They'll find somebody else. That Worthy kid's good, but he's old. All right, that's going. Or he's small. Is what I meant to say. He's small. He's gonna be injury prone. Anyway, that's gonna do it. We'll be back later this week to do our Week 5 NFL picks. I don't know when we're gonna do it. We're supposed to do it on Fridays, but you know how Fridays can be. Friday works for you?
Okay.
Cool. We'll be back on Friday at 3 and a Possible talking NFL, and then on Sundays we'll be reacting to the WNBA. Sunday we'll talk WNBA and NBA.
NBA preseason starts on Tuesday, week from today.
Hey, damn, we're gonna be on a lot. Whatever. That's what we do. We can transition. We'll make it work. We'll go live in and then start another one real quick. All right, but that'll do it. We'll be back on